Check out Night Dreams Talk Radio on the web at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com.
And I am back. So it makes me wonder, if you go out and chop trees down, if, what their feelings are. We got a caller in. Hopefully, Anne-Marie, you're there, and I'm going to take this caller in. And who do we have out there?
Hey, Gary, it's Kevin.
Well, hi, Kevin. How you doing tonight?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing better than you were about 5 minutes ago. I can say that. Bad joke, right?
Yeah.
But our guest tonight, Kevin, our guest tonight is Anna Maria. And Anna, you there?
Yep.
Well, maybe she's not back yet. Oh, maybe I disconnected her. I hope not. Ooh, that could have happened.
Oh.
Okay, what I need to do is I need you to call back in like 2 minutes. I'm going to try connecting her back again. I know what I did wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll call you in 2 minutes.
Okay, that works. Boy, I think I'm getting senile here or something. Okay, let's see if we got her. Okay, Anna, you still there?
I am.
Okay, we got a caller that's going to be calling back in about a minute or so. His name is Kevin Beagle. He does the Saturday night show for me on our network. And, he has some questions to ask you.
How wonderful.
But, Kevin, if you're listening, you can actually call back. I know what I did. I accidentally put her on hold. Old age, you know what happens when you get in your mid-60s.
It's when we bake our brains in the sun on those bikes all the time.
Oh, yeah. I did a dumb thing a couple years ago on going to Las Vegas. I was going through the desert. I didn't have enough water. And all of a sudden, I pull off the road. My two sons were with me riding their Harleys. And we pull off the side of the road. And I'm going, look at all the rattlesnakes. Look at all the rattlesnakes. And they're looking at me. Have you been doing anything, like smoking anything while you were riding? I go, no. Well, it was. I was so dehydrated from not drinking water. And the temperature was like 117, 119 degrees.
Oh.
I'll tell you, I never wanted to do that again. And thank God a person pulled off the side of the road and they had a bottle of water and they gave it to me. And boy, within a couple minutes, I actually didn't see the rattlesnakes no more.
That's a really good sign. And it's true, those desert rides, you don't, I don't think we respect them as much. The only time I've ever had heat stroke was, again, on a ride, getting stuck on a hot, black pavement, coming back up at me and needing to get off as quickly as possible and just pouring, scoopful after scoopful of ice into my chaps to try and bring my body temperature down because I didn't want to see the rattlesnakes. I knew that was next.
Okay. Now, hey, Kevin, I know you're calling. If you can hear me, if you're calling on Skype, which I think you are, I can't take a Skype call when I'm on Skype. You have to call me like on your cell phone or your landline. So I don't know what to tell you. But, I'm sorry, we're going to hear a little bit of ringing here. I just can't answer it. If I do, guess what it does? It puts you on hold and disconnects him. Okay, I'm going to send him a message. But go ahead and, let's talk more about the trees.
Yeah, it's so great they've just been here all the time. And what I talk to people the most about is moving them from the backdrop into this, forefront of working with us because it's it changes things in such a way, it causes us to slow down. Again, we're being flooded with those negative ions. The other thing that happens when we're under a tree, so you're in the auric field of a tree when you're underneath it. And the auric field, the aura of a tree, is typically, around the drip line of the tree. So if you stand under that, you're within its aura and you can connect consciously. Now, here's a really cool thing that people can do, and I know people in your community have dowsing rods because they're the kind of folks that would have dowsing rods. So you can walk up to a tree and, again, do you want to work with me, yes or no? And then start to walk towards it and say, show me your aura. And if you're using, the L rods, what will happen, again, depending on how you work them, but you'll be walking towards it, and all of a sudden it will turn. And it's usually right about at the drip line. Now, if you start interacting with the tree, God, you're such a beautiful tree. I'm so grateful for all the oxygen you give us, all of, the crap in the air that you take and you help transmit, and all the things you do, the heat you give us, the shade you give us, the home building materials you give us. And then you ask the tree to show you its aura again, and you walk up to it or walk away from it, and the spot will move out anywhere from 5 to 10 feet. It's phenomenal to do it in person, because you see the living interaction. And we can do this with people's auras too, but it's way cooler when we see it with a tree.
I never even knew that before. See, I'm learning more stuff talking to you than I even thought was, I'm blown away here.
Isn't it phenomenal? I mean, and they've just been there all the time. They're these amazing sentinels, these allies in our life that have this way of teaching us so many things. And what I've found is, the nature folks, the folks who love the animals, they're in the other room with the dog while everyone else is out on the patio. That those of us who are connected to nature, that we can connect in a very heartfelt way, and we can open up into these superhuman abilities that we just never realized before. And again, I know the world is a crazy place, but I'm not afraid. I know that I have a divine connection that's going to help me stay safe and make good decisions no matter what our politicians are deciding to do.
Or what they're not going to do.
Insider information.
Oh, yeah. Now, hey, do they know if somebody is a terrible, evil person? And they go.
They do. Everything's energy. They absolutely do. Your auric field tells them everything they need to know, and they will share that information. So if somebody who's coming, into the forest to do bad things, they're going to feel that. They're going to share, spread that out. And I would not be surprised to see that person run into some issues. In fact, in Iceland, they know that if the fairy realm gets involved, they will reroute roads because they have experienced it enough with problems with equipment and plans and other things that no one would have expected happens when we don't respect nature. But in our modern day society, we just push harder.
And that is scary. Hey Kevin, are you there this time?
What was that?
No, well, my thing says Kevin is here, but I'm just checking to see if he's still here.
Oh.
Wow. I think he hung up. Well, it says he's here, but I don't hear him.
I don't hear him either.
Okay. I had the same problem with our other host on the show, too. They set up Skype, and there's a little couple of things you got to do to set up Skype, because if you don't set up right, this is exactly what happens. You can't. They can hear you, but you can't hear them.
I know.
Yeah, strange.
Years of the summit world have taught me that anything that can go wrong on a live show will go wrong on a live show.
Well, you know what is really bad is I have to use the older version of Skype to work with all my computers here, because I go through a server, which that software requires Windows 7. And if I'm not careful, every day I turn on the computer, or every so often, even during the day, it comes up, do you want to update? And if you don't pay attention, you click it, then you have to unload the program, reload it, and reinstall it. And it's hours worth of work to get it to work again.
Another testament to staying aware and conscious all of the time. The distractions are everywhere.
I know, and it's never ending, too, and it makes it hard sometimes when you do a talk show. I mean, especially when you get call-ins. But, yeah. So, that, I think it's so interesting. So, if a person was like a very evil person, like he's committed murders and done all this stuff, and he goes out in the forest, I mean, what type of vibes is he going to get from the trees?
Well, you know what is interesting about it? And my human side, says, well, I want them to get it. I want them to throw pine cones at them. I want them to cover them in sap. And, the trees are so much wiser. They get that we have forgotten, hurt people, or hurt trees, or whatever. And they get that. They have this understanding that just blows my mind. You know, my human heart can only hold so much, it seems, at times. And they will do their darndest to try and help that person remember who they really are. One of the cool things that happens is, again, when you're under a tree, and you know you'll see the sun shining through the branches and it'll be coming through the leaves or the needles. Well, what's happening is the sun is delivering these packets of information called biophotons. And it's all energy. And as it's filtering through that leaf and that plant intelligence, it's encoded with that plant intelligence. And if you've already connected with that tree and say you're sharing with it.
Okay, I think maybe this time. Kevin, are you here this time? Hey, Kevin?
Yeah, Gary. Are you there?
Okay, yeah. Are you still here, Anna?
I am. We're all here at the same time. How cool is that?
Hey, you know what? Did you change your ID on your Skype again?
No, I have two IDs.
Well, it didn't recognize the one, and that's why I couldn't take it.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, we got Anna Marie on here.
Yeah. Are we on the air now?
We are on the air, so please don't scream.
No. Actually, I just wanted to call in. Anna, my name's Kevin Beagle, and I do Saturday nights on the show, and I wanted to call in because I find your topic so very interesting. Because, you know, for a lot of reasons, before I started to do a lot of paranormal stuff, I did actually folklore, and I grew up in Ireland and everything like that. So folklores of people communicating with trees is very, very widespread, as I'm sure you know. But you know, all the things that I found so interesting about what you're talking about is that the science then backs it up, like you were speaking about. I didn't get to hear the last couple minutes of your conversations because we're trying to figure this all out. But what I wanted to say is that the idea of speaking with trees and communicating with nature, I think, is a very, very common ancient tradition and idea, and I'm glad that you're bringing it back now to the modern age, because I think, as you guys have touched on a little bit, you know, it's really only in the last, I would say, maybe 200-300 years that we felt like we dominated nature rather than lived within it. You know, so it's an interesting concept.
Absolutely. And again, to help us remember, like, I can't believe after all of our forgetfulness that they're so committed to us remembering. And what I found, you know, everyone has their own wiring. Like, some people are really feeling their connection to the cosmos and to other star systems and to other even life forms that they feel that they probably have a lineage with. And then there's those of us who are like, I don't know, but man, these trees, these rocks, these mountains, these lakes, like, this does it for me. And for us, for those of us who connect with the natural realm and feel that inspiration, feel that fulfillment when we're in nature, that peace, you know, so often we just say, well, it's only because the people who bother me aren't here. But it's so much bigger than that. And the more we connect consciously and we use it, we can create with our intention that portal to go into these other realms, and we can explore, you know, all of these topics that are so fascinating to us, the interdimensional beings, the unicorns, the Sasquatch, the aliens, the extraterrestrials who are communicating with us to share technology. We can do this, and it all starts in our own backyard. It's phenomenal. It's like hidden in plain sight.
Right. I think you're very right, but you know, and one of the things that you guys brought up too that I would be interesting to consider is the idea of why man is important to trees. And when you think about it, we are the only animal, if you want to classify us as animals and not, you know, soul bears or whatever. But I believe that we all are. But we are the only animal that does forestry in the sense of husbandry towards the, you know,